Let's quickly go to Lagos and take some questions from there.
Okay, well, we have Mr. George Eke, who is a legal practitioner. He joins us this morning. Mr. Eke, listening to some of the submissions of Honorable Namdas, from the point of law, is it valid how they have gone on this case without having heard him, even though they say they invited Mr. Jibrin, but he didn't show up?
Well, I think there are two issues involved here, the legality and propriety of the suspension. Yes, we concede the legality to the National Assembly in the sense that they have their own rules, with regard to how members should conduct themselves and all of that. Apparently, that is what they invoked, and suspended him. But the propriety of the suspension is what bothers me. And like you did ask a question earlier, is Honorable Namdas not embarrassed by the content of the revelation of Jibrin's allegations as against the fact that what Jibrin said has embarrassed the National Assembly? Let me make that distinction. Jibrin had exposed quite a number of things that he thought or he thinks Nigerians also do believe that are untoward happening in the National Assembly. The National Assembly is more bothered about the embarrassment it caused them as their image, to their image, as against what Jibrin had said. That is the content of what Jibrin has said. Is there no time that the National Assembly is going to worry about the content of Jibrin's allegation, especially since they said he had not done any petition to the National Assembly? In any case, we don't expect Jibrin to do any petition to the National Assembly, because it will be a case of reporting Caesar to Caesar. He is alleging that the leadership of the National Assembly had padded and done quite a number of things that simplicity are fraudulent. It will be wrong. It doesn't make sense for Jibrin to now report or petition the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, you have done terrible things. What do? That is why he went out. But the point I'm now making is that when is the National Assembly going to bother itself with what Jibrin has exposed?
Okay, let's get that to Mr. Namdas. Perhaps he could just get some response to that one. Mr. Namdas, could you respond to that? Is the House, or at what point will the House, okay, well, I'm not sure he can eventually get to hear us, but if we could also look at this particular matter where it says Garba versus University of Maiduguri in 1986, I understand that there's a precedent. Supreme Court ruled on that matter that if any panel, administrative panel, an inquiry or committee that does not have fair hearing in any matter falls flat on its face. Does that apply in this kind of case?
Yes, but you see, the National Assembly is going to hide under the cover of we have given him an opportunity to come and explain himself, and he probably did not. That is the details of or the facts of that case probably may not be on all fours with the instant matter, the point we are making now. That's the investigation that is taking place now. But what I want to let the National Assembly know, because I think about yesterday or thereabout, the same Honorable Namdas had talked about separation of powers, and that the court cannot determine for the National Assembly how they will run their business. And I said that is wrong, except that they don't have lawyers among them, or that they are not, giving them proper advice. Adjunct or pari passu with the principle of separation of power is the concept of checks and balances. Every arm of government acts as check and balance on the other. So it is not like cast in stone that every arm of government must work separately. They all interrelate and they all act as checks and balances. So the court has overriding influence and overriding power over what happens in the National Assembly. And another thing is that Honorable Jibrin is still a citizen of Nigeria. Section 46 of the the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, says if you feel that you are right has been threatened, is being threatened, or likely to be threatened, that you can approach a court. And that is exactly what he has done.
Okay, let's get to Magba on this one to wrap that up. Magba, if Honorable can hear us, you can. What does it think of all of this?
What is the problem? Okay, no problem.
What is the long shot looking like?
Things that was raised by our guest in the studio in
No, you don't
Lagos.
get.
What are your thoughts on it, that the court cannot intervene in house matters?
No, I think he got it wrong. What I said is that we have 3 arms of government. We have separation of powers. I agree that we have also checks and balances. At least I'm a student of politics. I know that is true. But what I said is that the court, the judiciary cannot, the court cannot just say, look, let us don't take action on Jibrin. But if we take action and Jibrin approaches the court cannot interpret our actions, whether we invalidate what we did or will upheld what we did.
What do you say to those that say that there is already a precedent with the case of Honorable Dino, well, it's now a senator, when he was honorable member of the House under Demeji Bankole, and that the courts did hold that it was illegal to have suspended Honorable Dino Melaye as at that time because his people, his constituents, had the right to representation?
No, well, I think for us, in this particular case, I was not there in the Seventh Assembly, but in this particular case, I think there is a due process that has been followed in the case of Jibrin. And I want to add here that, still to the lawyer there, is that in the National Assembly, when you talk about checks and balances, as I said earlier, for example, if a judge is about to give a judgment, we cannot in the National Assembly pass a resolution to say this judge should not give a judgment. He must give the judgment. But what I'm saying also here, the court cannot say, based on the rules and the Constitution are giving us the powers to have our rules and implement those rules. The court cannot say, don't implement it. But if we implement it and it's wrongly implemented, the court has the power to invalidate or to uphold.
What if your resolutions are in negation to some of the already standing precedents, already standing judicial precedents? What then happens?
In this particular case, I think it was done rightly. And even the rules we are talking about, that when there's an issue in court, it's not talking about shall. Is that there's a discretion even on the part of the speaker. So it's not about shall. That is, that's a discretion on the part of the speaker. So I think I haven't said that there's no checks and balances. I didn't also say that the court cannot interpret our action. But I say the court cannot say we should not implement our action. But if we do that, the court has the right. Somebody who is aggrieved with the action, he can implement those, go to get judgment, either for or against the judgment. I think that's what I said.
Well, we've been speaking with Honorable Abdulrazak Namda, who's the House Committee Chair on Media and Public Affairs. Thank you for coming on Sunrise TV.
Thank you so much.
It's back to you guys in Lagos.
Oh, yes, indeed. And thank you, Mark. Well, unfortunately, we couldn't get some of those scenarios. There were more publications from Honorable Jibrin only lately about the House, but his response in terms of how the courts can act on this one, does that suffice for you?
I don't know. Of course, it doesn't. But you see, on a general note, let's look at it this way. What the National Assembly is doing, and which must stop them from, is they are like revalidating Decree 4 of the military days. You know that Decree 4 that sent Ntoke Rabo and quite a number, another person, to jail. The content was that if you write anything or say anything that is embarrassing to a government official, you will go to jail. And Rotimi Williams, I remember, asked him, while defending them, if you write the truth about a government official, the mere fact that he gets embarrassed, does that make you eat an offense? Does that make you go to jail? And until today, nobody answered that question. That is exactly what is playing out now. Honorable Jibrin says, from my vantage position as chairman of the appropriation, the things I have seen are such that I must tell Nigerians that there is a brigandage taking place with the budget. And of course, for some of us that don't have this information, you will find out that the moment the president submitted his budget, indeed he had not left.
Okay. Mr. K, just pardon me, we'll have to take a quick break, but we'll be back and continue your thoughts on that one in a moment. Do join us again.